Hello and welcome to another episode of Tom's Gaming World. Thanks very much for joining us today. And yeah, just an update really. This won't be a long video I don't think, but here in the games room, which I'll soon be leaving again, only to come back to in hopefully not too long, but for the time being I'll leave it as is. Before I leave, I have changed a few things, if you like to see. Here you may notice that the Saturn has disappeared and it's moved up here. In turn something else has disappeared, which is the Dreamcast, which I'll show you where that's moved to in a moment. But here we still have the same stack of PS1, PS2 DVD player and CDI. So that's the update there. Over here tidied up a little bit, but really remains the same. There's still a lot of boxes on the floor, just they've got no room in the drawers for these N64 games, for example, or these PSP games. I am bringing a few things to my place, but I'm very limited as to what I can actually take with me. But as you can see, there's still piles of things, and not all these are games. For example, that's a box of VHS, and yeah, I could probably optimise this space a little bit better, but we'll get there one day. The cupboard's had a slight rejig. Now we've got Dreamcast games all on the same level or shelf, 2 deep, and top of that 2 deep is Saturn games, Mega CD games and 3DO games, so all that together there. GameCube games are all on the same shelf, but surplus Saturn games have also crept down there, and the Japanese GameCube games. The N-Gage has gone over there with a Japanese Game Boy Advance game, and PS2 is still down here, as well as down here in this little pile, and of course up here as well. After having a bit of a sort out, I found some boxed N64 games that are sat up here next to some boxed Super Nintendo games and NES games. Also includes some boxed Game Gear, Lemmings there, and Game Boy, is that? Yes, Donkey Kong for the Game Boy. Saturn games are stacked up here. This is Japanese import Saturn games, and that continues here, and of course you've got the Master System games behind all this lot. I'm hoping to take my Japanese Dreamcast games back with me, but there's a fair amount of them, and I'll have to see how easy it is with travelling public transport to get those to where I need to get them to. We'll see. You know, it would mean carrying another bag with me, but it might not be too bad. It's just, you know, games in cases weigh a little bit. 3 games I won't be taking with me when I leave are 3 new pickups for the 3DO, because I won't be bringing my 3DO with me. I spent quite a bit of time with it this time being back. So the games I've got are Ultraman Powered. You can see that. It's interesting, it's got a lot of FMV in it, and I'm finding out that my 3DO doesn't like to play FMV. Very well anyway. The sound skips. If anyone knows why just in FMV sequences the sound sensor skip, then please do let me know. This game also has FMV. It's Yu Yu Hakusho. This is a fighting game, as is Ultraman. However, Ultraman's also got some other bits in it which aren't fighting, and I'm still trying to understand exactly what type of game it is. It seems predominantly fighting though. This one is all fighting, and it's interesting looking. It reminds me, at least the backgrounds do, of the Sailor Moon game on 3DO. It's done by Tomy, this one. Gameplay feels a little restrictive. I was predominantly playing this through the computer while I was capturing the footage, so there was lag. I did try a little bit without the lag, but yeah, it didn't impress me too much. I'll show you some footage of all these games, so you get a good idea of what they look like. This game here, though, which I think outside of Japan is known as Tripped, the actual Japanese translation of the title is Flopon the Space Mutant, and it's by Warp, who did D as well, and D2 and Enemy Zero, and this is quite unlike any of those other games. It's a puzzle game which is essentially Puyo Puyo, but a little bit more wacky than Puyo Puyo. When you mix the different, let's call them Puyos for the sake of it, they create different species of creatures. So actually visually it ends up being quite a bit more interesting than Puyo Puyo. I especially like the instruction manual, where you can see some of these weird creations that when the Puyos come together they create these funny things. And the manual does have a lot of tongue-in-cheek sort of presentation. This one says revenge, and you've got a dog here which is interesting. And that's about all there is to cover in this room, so we'll go upstairs to the computer room and show you where that Dreamcast is. So here we are in the computer room where many Parry's Pickups videos were filmed. Of course it's got a computer in it, it usually does, but now it also has a Dreamcast in it. So if you remember last time, I had this monitor set up downstairs in the games room and I had it connected by VGA. Now I had it connected by a different VGA box. This is my new one, and the reason I have a new one is because the other one wasn't connecting properly. I was getting a lot of discoloration on the screen. It was going green or cutting out or not appearing at all. So I had to get a new VGA box to accomplish this. I really liked the Dreamcast running on VGA, so rather than just give up, I decided, oh, I'll get a new VGA box. And this one is the one I've got the second hand off eBay, about £25. Not too bad. I think that was maybe around the price I paid for my original VGA box years and years ago. I only wish I'd tried that sooner to find out that it didn't work very well. But this new one's a lot better. The cord coming out the back of it's a lot longer, a lot easier to deal with, and I've had no problems with it so far. You'll also notice here speakers. I had a problem before where I was using headphones connected to the VGA box, but now with these speakers connected in there instead, which are relatively cheap, about £12, they are Logitech speakers. They work really well, and got a nice little setup here for my Dreamcast. So I brought a few games upstairs. This game's already had, but this game's I wanted to play at the moment. Been playing quite a lot of Metropolis Street Racer recently. So you may remember I did a video, if you subscribe to the channel you might have seen that I did a video on this, the SM30 Pro Plus controller for use with Switch, PC, Mac, Android, and also any other sort of 8-bit Bluetooth adapters. So I've got this USB adapter here which arrived the other day. Again, I got this quite cheap. Amazon have done a couple of deals on the 8-bit Do accessories recently, perhaps connected to the Prime days. But this will actually states on it for PS Classic Edition. It also works with the USB devices, but I am going to plug this into my PlayStation Classic and use this controller on there, and we'll see how that goes. I assume it worked fine. And that brings me to the end of this episode of Tom's Gaming World. It might have been a slightly shorter one than usual. We'll have to see how it ends up after the edit. But thanks for watching, and next time you see me, I'll be in a totally different place, talking about something new and hopefully exciting and interesting to you guys. So if you like this sort of content, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Until I see you again for another one, it's goodbye and game on.